To all my artists and creatives, stop everything you're doing right now. You need to watch this video. We have a lot to talk about. Artists, today I'm going to be exposing for you, promoting on Instagram. I'm going to give you the rundown of everything you need to know and how to not get scammed and how to also save your money. Now, if you're an artist looking to make a name for yourself and you're on various social media platforms and one of them happens to be Instagram, like myself, make sure to follow. You've probably gotten messages from some art sharing accounts, art repost accounts saying, hey, if you pay $30, if you pay $100, whatever the price is, we're gonna post your artwork for you and you're also gonna get some followers and a lot of exposure. This is absolute BS. So like some of you, I fell for this trick and right now I'm trying to stop other people from falling into this trap. So let's run this down. So these accounts that contact you, number one, they're built upon fake followers. Number two, the money that you're paying to get these amount of followers that they say you're gonna get, they're not real followers. They plug them into a system and what they charge you is typically less than what it actually costs. So let's say they say, oh, you know, throw me $30, we're gonna promote your art for you, and also you're gonna get 1,000 followers in the process. If you do your research onto buying fake followers, you could actually get the same amount of followers for about $3 to $5. Now, another reason why you don't wanna go ahead and work with these platforms is because they don't necessarily market to the art niche. And a lot of these platforms that will approach you, they're dealing with other things such as fashion and fitness, which are completely opposite and have no place with the art world. So you think you're getting exposure, you think that you're building up a fan base, which in fact you're not, because it's not hitting the niche audience that you need for what you do. Now, from my experience, I realized these pages use bots to comment on your posts and also like your posts. Another thing too that I noticed, let's say you have one page contact you, you decide to work with them, you'll get a few other pages contacting you, also asking you to work with them, listing their prices. But the trick, and this is how they get people, that one page runs those other pages. So they're making it seem like these are separate pages, completely different entities, when really it's all run by one person. Another thing to keep in mind, that a lot of these fake art sharing pages are into things like groups, DM groups, which they put your post in there and then it seems like people are really interested in your work, but they're genuinely not. They're just there to boost that post for that page. As I mentioned before, and as I experienced, when you go ahead and work with these pages, you're gonna see little to no growth, and also you're not gonna make any sales because these aren't real people. And if they are real people, these are not people interested in the arts. Okay, so let's move past the fake IG sharing accounts and let's get to the real ones and talk about the problem with them. Now, what I noticed about the real art sharing accounts is typically they won't post your work unless you have 10K or more followers. The reason for this that I thought of is that they probably don't feel that they're gonna get any followers visiting their page from your page. So it doesn't matter how good your work is, because Instagram is all about popularity. And like I mentioned time and time again, it's very sad because a lot of artists, a lot of you out there watching this have very great work, and unfortunately you're not getting the opportunities you should on these platforms because you're not a viral artist. One thing I noticed and also experienced with these real art sharing pages is that if you do want your content posted on their page, they are gonna charge you. Some of them charge very little, such as $5 to $7, which is pretty decent. But I've also worked with one page where they charge $100 US. Now some of you are thinking, why the hell would you pay that to have your artwork posted on a page? Well, I looked at it this way. This page had 2 million followers. It was a good opportunity for me to get my artwork out to a larger audience and possibly make some sales. But that didn't happen. Instead, what happened is that I got a few likes, I got a few followers, and most of the attention for the artwork that I created was directed on that page. People didn't necessarily come to me, didn't make any sales or anything. And one thing I gotta tell you guys is that followers does not equal cash, so don't even stress it. Now, one thing I noticed with these real art sharing pages is that they kind of shifted their focus from posting great artwork to now posting viral content, which you don't want your artwork in the mix of that, because if this primarily becomes a viral content page, then all the new followers and majority of the followers are gonna pay attention to that content and skip right over your artwork. So you just wasted your money. Now, one other thing I gotta throw into the mix is the influencers. I've had this happen to me. Maybe some of you have had this, where you'll get influencers that will contact you. Hey, can you paint your drummy? And they'll post it on my page and you'll get tons of followers. Absolute BS. Don't ever paint any influencers or any of these people with thousands and thousands of followers thinking that you're gonna get some attention, you're gonna sell the piece. Now, I didn't draw some influencers, but I did use some cosplayers as references. And even with their permission and even after the piece was done, no acknowledgement. Now, I gotta say, I unexpectedly had some success with this, where one time I drew a model just because I thought she would have been a good reference for the picture I was trying to do. And she actually liked the picture enough to repost it on her page, which had 1 million followers. Salute! So artists, instead of spending your money with these platforms, the better thing to do is go out there, get yourself some art supplies, go out there, maybe join a Patreon, maybe get a class to actually better your skills. But, and this is a big but, I gotta talk about how to spot a good promoter, because there are a few on Instagram. Another way to spot a good promoter is that when you contact them, they actually give you a good deal. So what do I mean? Shout out to this guy right here. Now, if you work with him, he offers you something in return for posting your content on his page. So you're not just paying to have your content posted on the page, but also you're getting something tangible in return, which to me is a very good deal. Now, another sign of a good promoter is that if they see that you're an artist that takes your craft serious, that takes your page serious, that they'll offer you some sort of deal to further promote your work. So they'll do something like, hey, you know, I charge $7 for a post, but you know, I'll throw in a free story shout out or something. That is a great deal, and that is a sign of a promoter that actually wants to see your work get some recognition. I've also worked with promoters where they say, hey, you know, you did 2 posts with me, you have some other content on your page, do you mind if I post those? Sure, go ahead. Or they'll say, hey, how about I give you an additional story shout out with a swipe up link to your website that will take people directly to what you're trying to sell. Now, what I actually suggest that you guys do, which will save you some money, is do artist shout outs for shout outs. So let's say you're a comic book artist, for instance, and you see a lot of other great comic book artists or any artists of whatever particular genre you're part of. Then you contact those people, you say, hey, you know, how about we do shout out for shout outs via Insta story? If those people have an audience that really interacts with their work and they see that your work is great, then they're going to interact with your work. I've actually had a lot of success doing this. Let me touch on real quick the infamous Instagram promote button. Absolute trash. Do not invest too much into this. I've invested about $200. The best it did was get me a few followers that unfollowed me later. And also they limit your audience, so you're not gonna get the right exposure to where your content needs to go. So my takeaway from this, guys, do not stress about promoting your work. Do not fall into the trap and scam of people DMing you saying they're gonna get you thousands of followers. Instead, look for proper promoters. If you do wanna go the promotion route, look for the proper promoters that will actually care about your work and actually want to see your page grow, and also actually want to see you possibly make some sales. If you want suggestions, feel free to DM me on Instagram and I'll get you that info right over. Until next time, y'all. Peace.